Hey, welcome back to the channel. It is time for War 3 of the season. We are 0-2 and could really use a win. I have 7 fights for you, all of them solos. I'm pretty pumped up to get into it. Starting with that first one with Doom versus Medusa, then going on to a few Archangel fights with Aegon, Simsup, and then this mixed master, Nick Fury, with a very cool tactic I definitely want to show you. Moving on to encroaching stun against Sasquatch. Then some more Archangel versus I-Bomb, and finishing up with this pretty cool fight of Doom versus Nova. There's a lot of fights. Let's dive right into them. All right, like I said, there are 7 fights, and please make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying the content. All the war videos, champion reviews, definitely streaming more now, and of course the crystal opening. So this first fight was against Medusa. I had not taken this before. I did see a video on it, though, of an alliance mate taking it pretty well. With this buff and balance and the power drain and then the return policy, I had a feeling that this fight could go sideways pretty quickly if I didn't get it under control. And so I had a backup plan. And my backup plan was, if I am just having my power drained completely, I was just gonna heavy slap until it was over. The worst thing that would happen is I would have to bait some specials. Doom is so tanky that I really wasn't worried about it. I felt like I probably would be gaining some power, at least a little bit, enough to throw my SP1. And then I would be triggering his aura. So I really wasn't too concerned about this fight, even if it went sideways. And as you can see, we're starting off with the stagger, and that is landing the shock. So I've already up to the SP2, and at this point, I probably should have just thrown the special to get the power drains off of me, but I didn't. It was my first time taking this fight, and I wasn't overly concerned about it. But here we are. You can see the fight's already going pretty well. She's not gaining a tremendous amount of power. We've already got her at 60, now down to 47%. So at this point, I just decided to go ahead and slap her with the Doom slap and just finish the fight that way. I did throw the SP2. Obviously, it was too late. But again, I'm not really concerned about it. I'm not worried. This is a nice matchup here for Doom. Could definitely play it better, but it's not the end of the world. So I think we're just going to probably have 2 or 3 more heavy slaps here. I've accepted that I'm not going to gain power, and I've kind of missed the opportunity to run the fight that way. But I'm also, again, not exactly lamenting it. So there we go. We see what can happen and how great Doom is. And that just the stun heavy can finish that off. Then moving into this next fight against Aegon, this was going to be a pretty simple fight with Archangel. It is amazing. It's awesome to see how much Archangel has moved back into the picture. I want to be a little bit aware of this blood in the water, and that Aegon could get a pretty nice fury buff there. But again, I know Aegon's movesets from having used him so much myself, and then also fighting him. I'm not concerned about it. This was a very tight war. We got off to kind of a poor start for us, which I think put a little bit of pressure on everyone. AGT is a good alliance. They fight real well. And we are 0-2 at this point, and so we really wanted to come up with this win. I believed in our ability to come back from an 0-3 start. Of course, that being said, you never want to dig the hole too deep because you just never know what could happen. But you're seeing here, Archangel, I'm not concerned about having to throw special, so he's just a tremendous matchup for it, and we've already got that Aegon down. So those are some really nice warm-up fights. The Doom fight presented a slight challenge there, I think, just as far as staying calm, having a plan B, and not sweating it. And then I was picking up a gray boost there, and then Fusky, that guy is awesome. That guy is awesome. He sent me, I think, like 3 or 4 or 5 of those gifts already in the gifting season, so I really appreciate it. And then someone else in my alliance was actually assigned this fight. I think they got held up with some family stuff, and so Nick Fury on Mixed Master was open, and that would open up section 2, and so I was told to go ahead and just take this fight. Again, not really concerned. In fact, Archangel is a great option for it, because the issue here is maybe not being able to throw specials, which is not something typically you're interested in doing anyway. Getting a little more finesse with my Archangel there, right? So getting the bleeds going and backing off, and then using the high amount of bleeds on the opponent as increased probability of getting the poison when I block a hit. So just really playing slow and patient. Okay, I was very excited for this fight. This was the fight I was by far the most excited for in this war, was this Mixed Master Rank 3 Fury fight. There was a very specific strategy I was given for this, and it made a ton of sense once I thought about it. I'm used to doing this with Magneto and the magic synergy for that heal block. As soon as you send Fury into his second phase, you throw your SP3. Well, in this one, I'm going to be doing the same thing. The only difference is with Magneto, typically you were knocking Fury down. So you had a lot of control of when you were triggering that second life. And now with Archangels, you're going to see the timing's a little bit different because you don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but it's something you want to pay attention to. As a result of having that be the strategy, I'm not going to start off this fight with the typical parry and heavy. The reason being is I want to have an SP3 ready to go as soon as I send Fury into his second life. If that was a little confused, if I didn't explain that well, it'll make more sense to just go through the fight. But you see here, I'm just doing the parry, medium, light, medium. I do not want to trigger the Mixed Master here. So I wanted to keep that in mind the whole fight through, that it's a very unusual, it's not our typical style of play. So as I talk about, that definitely messes with your muscle memory. And fortunately, I kept in mind if something went wrong, especially in that second phase, that I needed to remember the Mixed Master portion of this node. That is extremely, extremely important here. So I'm so close to 3 bars of power now, I've realized, okay, now I can start parry heavy. As you see there, I didn't go in for the heavy right away. I wanted to build up the poisons. There we go. So now we've built up the poisons, starting to get the neurotoxins going. Probably trigger a couple here with this medium. There we go. So this is going perfectly, right? Like I'm playing perfectly. I'm very happy with how I'm playing. I'm remembering to do the medium, light, medium. I think I have a small mistake here. I get hit with maybe a heavy. Let's see what happens. But we're ready. His life is going down. I decided not to attack that stun there. I wanted to wait it through, but you see the hesitation cost me. So I took a couple hits. No big deal. The whole point is to win the fight, not necessarily come out with a full yellow bar. We've got the 3 neurotoxins now. I need to throw my special as soon as he triggers that. So I waited just like, what was that? Even half a second, which allowed him to get to 35% health. Meaning this SP3 and the neurotoxin afterwards are probably not going to kill him. I have fortunately placed the heal block on, which is nice. But now I've got a bit of an issue here. I need to finish this fight, and that neurotoxin on its own is not going to do it. I'm remembering the Mixed Master portion of the node, and just staying calm. If he throws his SP1, I'm just going to block it. I'm just going to block it. I do need to work against the global there from him going indestructible. You see it triggered again. And then I'm thinking if I can just get one more heavy into his heavy, I should be able to finish this off. A nice little intercept with the SP1, so I could, just in case I triggered the global by backing up from the heavy to create space, and he's down. And I was very excited. I was so happy to take that fight. I'm ready to take it again, should it come up, and I'm just pumped up. I'm pumped up. It just felt great. It was a good feeling, and it was a fun fight. Lots to remember and keep in mind. Then moving on to this encroaching stun as we head to 7, 8, and 9 against this Sasquatch. I did use my pre-fight ability. I decided to go ahead and use invulnerability because, like I said, we got off to an atypical start for us. And even though I felt and knew this fight would go very quickly, Sasquatch has the ability to do some big damage. And I just, it probably was a waste. It was probably a waste because you see here, I'm even going to make a strategic decision to go ahead and block the SP1. I did it there, and then I recalled that there actually is a 10% chance for the stun on the SP1 when Sasquatch is not in his wrath. So in general, it's not really a good idea. Because of the pre-fight, and this is Torch versus Mystic, I probably would have been fine. but I didn't want to trigger the global any more than I had to. I did remember to throw my special when we came into the encroaching stun, and then you're gonna see it here. I actually threw mine a little bit early, but I starting to throw the next one already. And, you know, I was never really concerned about that fight. You know, a rank 3 torch with the pre-fight ability, it would take a lot to go wrong. In fact, I think it was a couple seasons ago, I did forget about the encroaching stun portion. And because I was fighting a Mystic, they ended up killing themselves. Then this was my second most look forward to fight here. You see the buff and balance against this Abomination. Did not find a dual target, but I had taken Immortal Abomination in the off-season war. I saw the poisons immediately, and I thought, wow, they even placed with suicides. This is going to be simple, right? The more difficult part of the neurotoxins is getting those poisons on. And then I remembered that it actually is just part of his awakened ability, but it doesn't matter. He's starting with those poisons. He's not poison immune. He just has that, I think it's the resistance to it. The damage resistance. So just staying calm. His specials do take up a significant amount of space, but I don't mind if he hits into my block a little bit, using the SB1 to create some space, and he's down. Archangel is fantastic for him. It was very similar to an off-season war fight I took with him on Mini Boss Island. And then just continuing on, this was going to be my final fight of the war, was this buff and balance, rich get richer. Excuse me, this Venom going to be taking in my Doom, who's just, as I like to call him, he is a confidence builder, right? I often feel very confident going to a fight with him because I know that even if I make a mistake, he's so sturdy, he's so tanky, he's going to handle it just fine. I'm used to the idea that at the start of this fight, I'm going to start with all of these weaknesses, but as we get Venom's buffs down, those weaknesses will not be an issue, and Doom's got plenty of power anyway. So we've thrown our special here. All the weaknesses are gone, and at this point, the fight is mine. I feel very confident about it. I'm not concerned. We triggered the shock. They're able to go into the heavy. We're going to do the Doom 2 mediums, then light, then 2 mediums, and move into that cycle here. Things will get a little unbalanced. I think there is a mistake at some point. But again, never really concerned about it. Venom, despite being able to do good damage, really just isn't going to be able to, one-shot me or two-shot me or something like that. So I think that was it right there. I messed up a little bit trying to go in to take advantage of the shock. But, I mean, you saw what happened, right? Like, that's the beauty of Doom. And you can play more aggressively with him because of that. Gonna go in, throw the SP3. Unless I really mess it up, which I don't believe I did, we'll do medium, medium, light, medium, medium. That is important. It is better. I used to not do the medium, medium, light, medium, medium, but you see it here, transition straight into the SP1, which kills him. But if it hadn't, we were ready with our SP2 if we had wanted to, or we could move more quickly into gaining the power for the SP3. And that fight was over. Those fights were pretty darn quick. There was 7 of them. I think the only one that lasted quite a while was the Fury fight, and that was by far the most fun for me. Felt great to take 7 fights. The most fights I had taken so far in a war was 4. So I personally am now 15 solos and 0 deaths, which feels great. It was a great first season, including some mini boss action, and then of course the main boss solo in week 1, in war 1 of the season. We did come up with the win. I think we only won by 1 death, which was really tight. In fact, when I had gone to bed the night before, I was pretty sure we were not going to come up with a victory, but our guys were clutch. Our guys in gal were clutch and finished off very strong, and there was a lot of map left for Agent Graphite, so that's no fault of theirs or shade towards them. They fought well, they played well, and we just happened to come up on the right side of it. The MVPs being Manny, Karate Mike, and FaZe, traditional names you see up there. They did a ton of the heavy lifting, and I'm sure the cards will come out soon. I'm feeling great. 1 week in, and like I said, so I went 4-0 the first war, 4-0 the second war, and then to get 7 this time, so 15-0 with a boss solo. I feel like I'm contributing Confidence is continuing to do well. I'm playing the way I know I can play, and I love the team I'm using. Right, a lot of it's having the right tool for the job, as my buddy Capcom likes to say. And my BG leader, my alliance leader, is definitely setting me up with having the right tools for the job when it comes to these fights. I'm excited for week 2. I'm excited for it, and for 4Loki to get on a bit of a winning streak here and see what other fights we can show you. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. I hope you either learned something, were entertained, or even better, a little bit of both. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow on Twitter at VegaGaming583. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.